cancel your contract. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome, and if you're back for another video, then welcome back. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about the 5 biggest mistakes that I see travelers make. Now, these are not just mistakes that new rookie travel nurses make, but this is also mistakes that experienced travel nurses are making and they may not even know it. So in this video, I wanted to talk to you guys about these 5 biggest mistakes and also give you practical solutions that you can use to resolve them, to fix them, and to also avoid making them. So if you guys want to know what these are, then keep on watching. Alright guys, so the biggest mistake that I see travelers make, and they may not even know they're making it, is not doing your research. Guys, you gotta do your research. And one of the biggest things that you should know before you start a contract is who has the direct contract with the hospital that you are going to. Why is this important? It is because this company, whichever travel company it is, typically will have the best rates and the best relationship with the hospital that you are going to. You can also use this as leverage to match perks or rates that that company may be offering their travelers that your current travel company does not. I'll give you a perfect example. Say you have a company that you are going through and they are offering you a rate of $2,000 a week for your travel assignment, and you do your research and you find out that the company that has the direct rate to the hospital is offering their travelers $2,200 a week for their travel assignment. You can actually take that pay package that the main company is offering and give it to your current travel company, and 9 times out of 10 they will match it. Not only will this save you paperwork, but you don't have to change companies. This is really important, and this is one of those things that I definitely recommend that travelers do whenever you are starting a new contract. Do your research, guys. Really important. Another mistake, unfortunately, that I see a lot of travelers make is that they do not communicate their requests, their concerns, and their complaints in an email form. Guys, this is really important, especially when you first start your contract. The reason that you always want to communicate in email form is that you want to have a record of all your concerns. You want to have an email communication where your words, where your concerns may not be altered, may not be changed, or even may not be neglected or said to not have been communicated to your travel company. Perfect example, myself, I can use that as an example. I was on a travel contract, and within the first 2 weeks, I did not feel safe at this assignment at all. I was floated to units that I was not comfortable at, and what I did was, at the end of my shift, every single time I had issues, I would email my recruiter. By the end of week 3, I had it. I was able to send them a long letter, explain to them why I was resigning. I gave my 2-week notice, and I did not have any repercussions. I was not blackballed. I did not have to pay any type of termination of contract fees because I had a record of all my concerns. So that's why this is really important. Also, you never want to have a situation where you think you were told something or you thought you communicated something, and when it doesn't come into fruition, you find that the other party claims that they never had that conversation with you. With something being in an email form, there's never anything misconstrued. There's always a record of it, and it's just a better overall method of communication. So guys, please always communicate any concerns, needs, or complaints in email, whether it's your recruiter, your director, or your manager. Another mistake that I see a lot of travel nurses make is that they do not ask and have it in writing that they want a block schedule. What is a block schedule? This is basically stating that you would like all your 3 days to be done in a row. You don't want 2 days here, 2 days there, 1 day there. This is especially important if you are somebody who is working night shift, because a lot of night shift nurses like to just do their 3 days in a row and then be able to have a normal sleep cycle. Some people don't even know that they can ask for a block schedule. Once again, this is something that you definitely want to communicate to your recruiter and get in writing so that you don't go on your assignment and surprise, when the schedule comes out, you're everywhere. Another mistake that I see travel nurses making is that they do not work with multiple travel companies. They stick to one company and that is it. This is a practice that can be costing you a lot of money. I have worked now with 4 different travel companies, and during that time I have found that not all agencies are created alike. They're not all the same, and every single company offers different perks. I had one company where every time I worked a shift they offered me a $100 bonus. I had another company recently, this is the company that I'm going to be with on my next travel assignment, where my OT rate is 3 times what I would be making. Not time and a half, but 3 times the rate. And then on top of that, your rate changes after 36 hours. So after 36 hours you get a rate, and after 40 hours you get a rate. I didn't even think this was a thing. I had another company where they gave you completion bonuses. You got a bonus in the middle of your shift, you got one in the beginning, I mean not in the middle of your shift, I'm sorry, in the middle of your assignment, and also in the beginning. This is why it's extremely important for you not to stick to one company. I understand that you may like your recruiter, but at the end of the day, you're also working, and you may be in this for relationships, but you also want to be making the max amount of money that you can make, because your time is precious. So please do your research, see what other companies may have to offer. There may be companies out there that is offering incentives that you didn't even know was possible. Like me, I just found out something new today. Always request your days prior to you starting your contract. If you have a wedding coming up, if you have your child's recital, if you have your parents' anniversary, whatever it may be, make sure you get it in writing that you are requesting these days off. This is extremely important, because you should never assume that once you start your contract that you may be able to get those days off. At the end of the day, just remember, when you're on a contract, you are working for the needs of that unit, working for the needs of that hospital, and they may not always be flexible to days that you may need off, especially holidays. If that is something that is important to you, make sure you get in writing that you need those days off. Another mistake that some nurses make is that they do not realize early on whether or not the recruiter is on their side. Guys, this is really important. From the beginning, you need to identify if your recruiter is there for you, or if their primary goal is just to get you in a contract, lock you down for 13 weeks, and keep it moving. If you are not happy with your recruiter, you are not stuck to that person. You can always speak to somebody above them and request to work with somebody else. I worked with a company one time where I reached out to them and I explained to them that I was not getting along with my recruiter, and they told me that I didn't have a choice. Well, guess what? I did not end up signing a contract with them, because that is not right. You always have a choice as to who you want to work with. So before you cut off a company, always see if there is a possibility that you can work with another recruiter, somebody who you feel like you can trust, that has your best interest at heart. So yes, guys, do not feel binded to your terrible recruiter if you have one. Alright guys, so another mistake that nurses make is not asking for extension bonuses. When you renew your contract, you save the travel company a lot of money. Think about it. In the beginning of your contract, your travel company had to pay for your background check, they had to pay for your drug screen, they had to pay for your physical. They had to pay a lot to get you through that door and into that hospital. When you renew a contract, you are basically saving them hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. You should always ask for an extension bonus. Always get that in writing, and always get that signed, sealed in an envelope. This is one of those things that sometimes new travel nurses make this mistake, and it costs them like $500-600. So always ask for that extension bonus. Alright, so the other mistake that I have found that nurses have made, and for some reason this is something that has been coming up for me, and that is not speaking to the manager, the director of the unit that you are going to work at. I made this mistake myself. I thought it was a great thing. The company that I worked for did all my paperwork, and they told me, hey, you don't have to go through an interview process, you got it, you're going to be working at this hospital. And I was like, oh wow, that's amazing, I don't have to speak to the director. When I got to this assignment, I realized that the unit that my company had sold me on was not where I was going to be working. You should always push to speak to the director or to speak to the manager of the unit that you're going to be working at. Your company sometimes, I don't want to throw anybody out there, but some companies will say whatever they have to say. Yes, patient to nurse ratio is 3-to-1. You don't have to float. The charting system is this.
And blah, blah, blah.
They sometimes will say whatever they have to say to get you through the door. Also, sometimes the company themselves may be getting wrong information or information that is not updated. So that is why it is very important that you speak to somebody who is the manager, charge nurse, director, whoever it may be, to the unit that you are working on. This is the person that really has no qualms. They want to get you through the door, but most of the time they do not benefit at all from getting you through the door. There's no bonus for them. There's no incentive for them, I guess, besides having a nurse. But they will be upfront and honest with you about what the unit is, what the ratio is, how it's run, what the expectations are. So it is really important that you speak to somebody on the inside who is on that unit before you start your assignment. Very, very important. All right, guys, so this is the last piece of advice, and I personally feel like the best advice that I can give you, and that is to not feel like you are stuck on your assignment. For some reason, there is this common misconception that once you are signed to a contract that you are binded. But believe it or not, if you genuinely have valid reasons why you do not feel safe, that you do not feel comfortable, that you do not feel like you can continue on your assignment, you can always give a resignation, you can give a notice, and you can terminate your contract. There's always a clause. This is why, going back to my point about emailing all your concerns is extremely, extremely important. Myself personally, I have had to cancel a contract one time in my travel nursing career. And that was because I did not feel comfortable on the assignment. And for 3 weeks, I emailed my recruiter almost at the end of every single shift about my concerns. And at the end of it, they were all validated and I was able to terminate my contract. And at the same time, I was able to get another contract with the same company without worrying about being blacklisted, not being able to be rehired or anything of that nature. So please, 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 at the end of the day, I want you to always remember that you have a license to protect. You should always put yourself first before all else. And if you're not comfortable, always make that known, okay? My little travel nurses out there, please always keep that in mind. Your safety and the safety of your patients should always be the #1 priority. All right, guys, so that is pretty much it. That is the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you guys got something out of it. So before I leave, I want you guys to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I also want to hear from you. Have you guys ever been on a travel contract that you did not feel safe working? If so, I want to hear about it down below. How did you resolve that? What conclusion did you come to? And did you get into any trouble or anything like that? I want to know. Sound off down below. Let's open up this discussion, guys. And that's pretty much it. I hope to see you guys on my next video, and happy nursing.